Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to round 3 of the Pro Street Stock Series, sponsored by East Action Sports and Tri-E-Cooler Crew. Today we're at the virtual Richmond Raceway. We're going to go 200 laps, no fast repairs, 40% fuel allotment, and 3 sets of tires behind the wall. This event is broadcasted live with race control. On behalf of Team Goon Squad, my name is James East, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. Let's go ahead and take a look at the grid for today's main event. Starting on pole, Michael Vandermeer, the number 84 machine. His teammate, James SoundCloud Silvers, the number 17, starting second. Jacob Feskin in the 926 starts third. Steven Rex with Dropping Bombs Racing starting fourth. Tyler Mcrae in the DBR 99 starting fifth. Tyler the Weapon Evans in the 77 machine starting sixth. Spencer Breslin in the 355 starting seventh. Chase Johnson, the number 19 machine, starts eighth. Brett Edgar starting 9th in the 007. You've got Cole Patrick in the 22 machine starting 10th. Travis Sukup in the 45 starts 11th. John Friley in the 06 machine starts 12th here today. And then to round out the field, you've got Josh Sommers, the number 16 machine, starting 13th. Albert Hewins in the 55 starting 14th. And Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Australian, starting 15th here today. Again, we've got Joseph Penn in the booth acting as race control here today. Hopefully he's got a nice and boring evening as the drivers make their way out and getting ready to do battle. Already Vandermeer in fuel-saving mode in that number 84 machine on the inside apron. We've got Jason Gardner here tonight saying, let's go Dropping Bombs Racing. Gardner, the fill-in driver last week at Bristol, picked up his first ever win in the Pro Series. We've also got James Bishop here saying, how am I not in on this? I don't know the answer to that, but registrations are open at teamgoonsquad.com. Some of the teams are still recruiting, and some of the drivers are looking for maybe some fill-in drivers throughout the season. As we follow the iRacing safety car around in the opening sight laps. Good to see the grid getting bigger and bigger every week. Some of these drivers chasing some big payouts. And most of the championships very far from decided. Only 2 different races have been completed with 2 different winners for each one. Well, let's see if we'll have a new winner here today at Richmond, as the pace car will make its way in this next time by. Pace car is in. Now we wait for the green flag to fly. And here we go for 200 laps of Richmond of the Pro Street Stock Series. Drivers are on their way. Let's see what's going to happen here. It's still Vandermeet up front, chased closely by Feskin and Silvers. 3 teammates run together, but right behind these 3 drivers of Vandermeet, Feskin, and Silvers, you've got Mcrae and Rex, 2 teammates as well, looking to make some moves early on here. The field, we've seen some interesting strategies happen here in the past as far as fuel saving goes. It'll be interesting to see what happens as Mcrae, the number 99 machine's already worked his way up to 3rd. Now last week it was Jason Gardner driving that 99 as Mcrae was out in Florida on a little bit of a vacation. So Mcrae going to come back out today and see what he can do to put that 99 back up front. But he's got 2 of the fast Cornerstone cars in front of him, piloted by Vandermeet and Feskinen, who are off to an early start. Now, oddly enough, the 2 drivers that have brought home wins this season are not joining us today. That's none other than Jeff Edgar and Jason Gardner. Edgar won the season opener. Gardner won last week at Bristol. And Gardner was a fill-in driver. And this week, Jeff Edgar using a fill-in driver with his son, Brett Edgar. He'll be driving the 007 machine, currently 8th on track, up 1 spot from where he started. But not too much to worry about yet, as this is a long format race with the open setups. And we've seen the Fastlane Motorsports team owned by Jeff Edgar really pull off some interesting moves with fuel strategy. It'll be curious to see if that's passed on to the son, Brett Edgar, as well. But here comes Tyler Mcrae in the number 99 machine, trying to take a shot at 2nd place. Michael Vandermeet looks like he's going to get clear here, as Feskinen has taken over the race lead. Not many points were separating the drivers coming into today's main event. Tyler Mcrae was out front in the points lead, just 1 point ahead of Jeff Edgar. While Tyler Evans, he's got 23 points to round out 3rd place. Dropping Bombs Racing, as far as the team championship, still out front, 62 points to their team name. Cornerstone Motorsports, running 2nd with 56 points. And Fastlane Motorsports has 3rd place secured with 55 points. Let's see if Mcrae is going to take a shot at the lead here against Feskinen. And oh no, we've got carnage going on. That looks like it's going to be Breslin, Edgar, and Evans all involved in that one to bring out the first caution. Let's see what happens here. We're watching Evans in the 77 machine. He goes to the inside line and just gets loose, gets hooked back around. And unfortunately, that will collect the 355 of Spencer Breslin and the 007 of Brett Edgar to bring out the caution. Poor Breslin, and completely take everything out. Hopefully we can get everything caught up here shortly. As the pace car comes in, here we go once more. It's Feskin out front, Silver 2nd, Vandermeet 3rd. Let's see if Feskin can keep his nose clean in that 9.26 machine. Tyler Mcrae drops back to 4th at this point of the run. And a little bit of bumping and grinding going on here, but so far everybody doing a good job holding on to it. Chase Johnson, number 19 machine, he's up 3 spots. John Fryling, the 06 machine, he's up 5 spots. As Breslin and Brett Edgar are still down in pit road trying to get things corrected. Now, I'm very interested to see how that early caution may affect some of the fuel strategy coming into tonight. As again, this is a long format race, 40% fuel allotment for all these drivers. As we pan the camera up a little bit further to see some side-by-side action, that is Vandermeet and Silvers going side-by-side for second. 2 teammates chasing their team captain, Jacob Feskinen. Actually, I don't know if Feskinen's captain anymore with a change of team name. And now Tyler Mcrae in the dropping bombs 99 machine. He looks to the outside of Silvers as well to see if he can maybe slingshot around the SoundCloud Pro. Ooh, stepping out the back end, almost tags the wall, not a lot of room left there. Now with these open setups, it's always interesting to see what type of setup these drivers are pushing for. Now generally loose is fast, but it's always a fine line there on how quick you can make it go before it comes too hard to handle. Brett Edgar, he returns out of pit road in the 007. Tyler Evans comes down pit road. As the current running order is all Cornerstone Motorsports running 1, 2, 3, Feskin and Vandermeet Silvers. Right behind them, Chase Johnson, number 19 machine, trying to work his way up. Mcrae in the 99. We've seen a few early jabs out of Mcrae. But I'm curious to see if he's just going to try and keep the tires underneath him for the duration of this run and maybe play it safe here. As we get a little bit closer shot on Chase Johnson, that number 19 machine, he's up 4 spots, trying to track down Silvers while also getting stalked by Mcrae in that 99 machine. Only a 10th of the way through here at this main event. So guys have got to be patient and not push too hard too early. Tires will be a big factor here at Richmond, especially for the guys that set up very loose. They'll be leaning hard on that back right tire. And also keep an eye on the hard charger. Currently, John Fryling, the 06 machine. We do have the Tri-E Cooler Crew Cool Under Pressure Award for the driver that gains the most positions during the course of the main event while maintaining a 0x0 incident point. So something else for these drivers to chase after, even if they're not necessarily a top 3 car. There is a whole lot of payouts still at play in addition to that Cool Under Pressure Award. Right now, Feskin in your race leader, he's at about a half second over Vandermeet in that number 84 machine. Vandermeet qualified on pole and has lost only 1 position to Feskinen. As the field getting pretty tight here, 2nd through 5th. Vandermeet, Silvers, Johnson, Mcrae all running nose to tail. Maybe waiting on a mistake from some of the other drivers. Tyler Evans gets back out on track after 2 minutes and 20 seconds in his pit stall. Spencer Breslin in the 3.55. He's still there after 7.5 minutes. going to be interesting to see if he's able to get back out on track. We get an update that he's got 8 minutes of damage, so he will be unfortunately parked for quite a while. Look at this, Steven Rex, number 28 machine. He's gaining some ground as well up to the back of his teammate, Tyler Mcrae. But a lot of these guys are very smart, very experienced, have been running street stocks either in leagues or official lobbies for years at this point. So they know what it's like to keep track of the tire wear. Feskin and still just clicking off laps out front. Last time by a 24.76. Everybody behind him also the 24.7 range as far as lap times go. Now a fair amount of the drivers came in on lap 8 to top off fuel for just ever so slightly. Looks like Johnson running 4th, all the way back to Hewins running 11th here today. Came in on lap 8, maybe splashing off some fuel to change up their pit cycles. But Feskin and Vandermeer and Silvers opted to stay out here, maybe sticking to the strategy they originally planned for. As you hear drivers tagging the wall ever so slightly. Feskin has a little bit of racing stripes on the right-hand side of that 926 Cornerstone machine. Silvers and Vandermeer doing a little battling here for second place. Two teammates. Chase Johnson's also going to look to the inside line to maybe try and follow Silvers through and take up the third place spot. Now Feskin, and your race leader, he's only had one start so far this season. That was early on, I believe, in round 1. Where he started second at that event. And that was at Chicago, where we saw the absolute wild. No, I stand corrected. It was at Bristol Feskinen showed up. On pit road yet. Opting to stay out as long as they possibly can. Oh, Johnson gets into the outside wall. Mcrae has the check up. Vandermeer looks to the inside line. Looks like he will take over third place. Mcrae and Rex going side by side, also trying to return the favor to the number 19 machine and pick up the spot. And now Johnson will once again be in fourth behind the three teammates of Silvers, Feskinen, and Vandermeer, who have been very consistent over the run here today. So far, almost looked like they were taking turns to see who would be leading the race and maybe trying to cycle out and maybe have some drivers saving a bit more fuel over the run so that way everybody burns fuel evenly. It's tough to tell. Johnson doing his best to stay in tow here. Now Johnson did come in on lap 8, maybe topped off a little bit of fuel. So it's going to be interesting to see when Silvers, Feskinen, and Vandermeer opt to come down pit road. And I believe pretty soon your race leader of Silvers will be having some traffic to contend with. As about 4 seconds ahead of him, he's got Albert Hewins and Josh Sommers, the number 55 and the number 16 machine out there running strong still, but maybe going a lap down here shortly. Breslin has returned back on track after he was in his pit stall for 8 minutes and 20 seconds getting some repairs done. He'll be about 15 laps down at this point. Silver still clicking off laps here, not having any problems. Chased by Feskin and Vandermeed still. But they're about to have a whole lot of traffic ahead of your race leaders, and that's where things can get very, very exciting very, very quickly. As this 3-pack of leaders, really a 4-pack at this point, Silvers, Feskin, and Vandermeed and Johnson will try and slice through traffic together. Now the rule here is that the Pro Series drivers are expected to hold their line when getting passed by the race leaders. Ideally, you will want to try and yield the preferred line to the race leaders. But if you're in a race of position yourself, it's going to make it tough to do, as we still have 11 drivers on the lead lap, but Hewins and Sommers, I believe, are about to go a lap down to a freight train of lead lap cars. Mcrae has backed off the pace ever so slightly. He's now about 1.5 seconds back from Chase Johnson. Johnson running fourth on track behind the top 3 cars. Going to be curious to see if the pace drops here. As the leaders start diving into traffic. That is Sommers, the number 16 machine, yields the inside line to the race leaders. Looks like everybody's going to get clear here at the start-finish line. Sommers really nowhere to go here. Johnson backs out of it, letting the Cornerstone drivers dive through first. As Sommers holds to that outside line to avoid causing any carnage or heartbreak. Johnson almost gets into him. And Sommers tags that outside wall, but the top 4 drivers get through relatively unscathed here today. Now it'll be the Cornerstone drivers of Mcrae and Rex after starting to cut through traffic. Your race leader, Silvers, he will have Albert Hewins III to be the next driver that goes a lap down, as he's running about 1/4 of a straightaway ahead of your race leaders. Now again, Silvers, Feskin, and Vandermeed have yet to come down pit road to fuel up, so they'll be the first 3 drivers to initiate their green flag stop here today. As I would imagine, I don't think anybody's going to be gutsy enough to double stint tires, opting to take 4 fresh ones every time they put a tank of gas in. These street stock machines take a long time to fill up. As Silvers cuts through traffic once more, let's see if Feskinen can get through, as well as Johnson and Vandermeed. Johnson now up in 3rd place, working the inside line against Vandermeed. We're going to go 3 wide briefly with traffic. Vandermeed in the middle. Everybody gets through nice and easy. Well done to Hewins, backing off slightly to avoid getting into somebody. Because just because Hewins is a lap down does not mean his race is over. We have seen late race cautions throw a wrench in everybody's plans, and we do have the lucky dog rule in effect for the pro drivers. that could allow them to get back on the lead lap. Now Silvers, Feskin, Johnson, and Vandermeer should have a fair amount of clean track ahead of them. Their next driver they'll have in front will be Sukup at the 45 machine. He's about 14, 15 seconds away from getting overtaken. And at the current pace, that should take about 15 laps if everybody keeps the exact same pace that they're on. As Silvers has extended his gap over his teammate of Feskin to about a half second, and they're about to go around their teammate Evans in the 77 machine. You can almost guarantee there'll be a little bit of inter-team communication there between spotters and crew chief for Evans to quickly hop out of the way of Silvers, but he may also give Silvers a bit of a draft if he still has the pace that'll allow his teammate running first to save a little bit of fuel, as the weapon Evans in that 77 machine kind of breaks a hole in the air. But it looks like Evans has a fair amount of damage on that 77 machine. He was in his pit stall for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Albert Hugh was the third. He comes in for a green flag stop in the 55 machine. As Silvers puts his teammate Evans another lap down. As it looks like Hewins will be the first driver to start the green flag cycle here on lap 63. I thought... So it's still Silvers, Vandermeer, and Feskin running 1, 2, 3. Johnson fourth. Mcrae rounds out our top five. We're 72 laps in and still waiting to see when the three cornerstone drivers out front will initiate their green flag stops. And yes, they are going to come in. Silvers, Vandermeer, Feskin, and Johnson coming together. Tyler Mcrae looks like he's going to stay out in the 99 machine, as well as Steven Rex in the 28. And we have our first green flag stops of the night to throw some strategy into the mix. Let's see if Cole Patrick opts to stay out in the 22 machine. He does. John Friley, I would assume, as Vandermeer, Silvers, Feskin, and Johnson get ready to roll out here. A long pit stop in these street stock machines is usually the norm. So now it'll be Mcrae, Rex, Patrick, Friley, and Sukup, the new top five, as the green flag cycles complete. Vandermeer, it looks like Johnson's going to be the first one out of pit road with 51.55 seconds. Let's see what the cornerstone guys, how long they're in pit lane for. Looks to be between 55 to a minute. Silver's in his pit stall for a long time, 1 minute and 7 seconds so far. I wonder if the number 17 machine may have gotten a penalty on speeding on pit road here, which would be absolutely heartbreaking. Silver's still in his pit stall at 1 minute and 23 seconds later. He's got to have some sort of problem or some sort of penalty here. We saw that happen last round to Feskin and at Bristol, getting a speeding violation that kept him in his pit stall for an additional 45 seconds. Patrick, number 22 machine, coming down pit road for his green flag cycle. Mcrae and Rex going to stretch it out here a little bit longer. And now looks like Mcrae and Friley will come down pit road. So I think what's going to happen is I believe Johnson will be the race leader as the pit cycles work them way out. Silver's got out of his pit stall a minute and 35 seconds later. That's a strong indicator he had some sort of penalty on the road. Most likely a speeding penalty. So now Johnson getting some laps left at number 19 machine. He came in on lap 72 to fuel that thing up. Going back out. And this is where that pit strategy came into play. You saw a large portion of the field coming on lap 8 to fuel up slightly. Now Vandermeer currently running about 4 seconds behind the number 19 machine. The lap times looking to be about 500s faster in the favor of Vandermeer. Feskin running second and third. But still not quite to the halfway mark of today's main event. And you've got two teammates linked up working together to try and reel in Chase Johnson, who is out front in no man's land, that number 19 machine sponsored by Fastlane Motorsports. He's trying to catch up to the tail end of the number 22 of Patrick, who is not on the same team but may be able to use the draft to his advantage. So we're expecting the next round of pit stops to be around lap 140 for the drivers. Barring any sort of caution. Now the field pretty spread out here. You've got Vandermeer and Feskin to run together, and Mcrae and Rex running together. So two different teams. You have the Cornerstone guys running second and third. You got Dropping Bombs running fourth and fifth. you can count on those drivers to work together and maybe save as much fuel as they can. And out of those two groups are pretty unlikely to crash into each other. I mean, never say never, but so you're watching the battle for fourth. Mcrae and Rex working together. And here is Vandermeet and Feskin. Easy to spot the teammates when they're running the same paint schemes week in and week out. Definitely makes my job a little bit easier as a broadcaster. Now Vandermeet raced round one. He started first and finished 8th. Racing for Vandermeet Shutters. Now technically he's not on the same team as Cornerstone Motorsports, running his own team with teammate Radburn Shutter, since they are doing a as he has gotten around Patrick's number 22 machine. So 5 drivers on the lead lap at this point. And really not losing much, if any, time to second place Vandermeet or Feskin. As we still fight with a few broadcasting woes, Vandermeet and Feskin have made some ground here, whittling away about 7/10 against Johnson, your race leader. And all these drivers on the running top 3, Johnson, Vandermeet, Feskin, are on the same pit strategy, all coming in on lap 72, expecting them to come back in around that lap 130 to 150 will probably be their next fuel window. As Vandermeed and Feskin finding more time now within 2.8 seconds of your race leader. Finding some big moves here. And here we go, your race leader having to cut through traffic. Excuse me, your runner, second place runner-up Vandermeed having to cut through traffic. Let's see if the racing gods will smile at us in the closing 62 laps. It's Tyler Mcrae out front. His teammate Steven Rex in the 28 comes down pit road. Now Mcrae last came in on lap 78. We've been seeing about 72 to 60 some odd laps on a run. So Mcrae should be able to stretch it out to that about a lap 140 to 145 mark before he comes in for the final stop of the evening. He's going to stay out as long as he can. That way he's got the quickest time on pit road possible to fill him up till the end. Still 3 drivers in the lead lap, Mcrae, Patrick, and Rex. As Rex goes a lap down on pit road, Silvers moves up to third after his lap 72 pit stop. So these should be the final stops of the night for these drivers, and they will be able to stretch it out all the way to the end. And now let's see what's going to happen as Mcrae is on pit road. Silver stays out from his lap 72 stop. So he will try and put a lap on the field, but he immediately comes down pit road right as we pan the camera to him. So now I believe John Friley, he's still on track after his lap 79 pit stop. So I think that's going to put Vandermeed as your top runner here in the 84 machine to bring us on home till the end. Very interesting how fuel strategy becomes the name of the game here of the Pro Street Stock Series. Riley still getting some laps left in that 06 machine, but he will have to come down pit road here shortly to be able to make it till the end in the closing 50 laps here at Richmond. And yes, Friley will come down pit road, so I believe that's going to be Vandermeed, your new race leader. So let's see if Vandermeed can bring it on home after his lap 132 pit stop, but he's going to have Chase Johnson right behind him in that number 19 machine. Now both drivers looked like they took full fuel and 4 tires at the end of that last run. Vandermeed came in on lap 132, Johnson on lap 135. Both drivers should be able to run it out to the end here. And we may have a race after all with 50 laps left to go. As Johnson getting right on the back bumper of Vandermeed. The 2 race leaders still about 2.5 seconds ahead of Feskin in the 926 machine. Then they've got a long distance back to Steven Rex in the 28. who's running about 14 seconds behind your race leader. Now, if Vandermeed and Johnson spend too much time racing each other, that could allow Feskin to catch up. Now, Vandermeed wouldn't mind having an ally up in the mix, but Johnson's going to want to try and keep it a two-way battle here. Let's see, Johnson still just stalking Vandermeed out front. And just like that, while the internet gods are smiling at us, Chase Johnson takes over the lead from Michael Vandermeet's number 84 machine. And quickly puts a bit of a gap there. Very 3/4 of a second already ahead of Vandermeet, the number 84. Both drivers are on pretty much the same pit cycle here. And Johnson's just found something that clicks for him in that number 19 machine. And quickly putting in work, Vandermeet answers, closing the gap back down to a half a second between himself and the race leader. Eight laps left to go. He's going to do whatever he can to try and get back in there and make something happen. Now down to 3/10, gaining some more time here. There's no more time left for tire saving. You're going to see the guys pushing hard here. Johnson still holding on to it. Vandermeet in hot pursuit. Are we going to see the number 84 machine get close enough to strike at the number 19 of Chase Johnson? Johnson's up 17 positions so far here today and just clicking them off. All right, up first in the waiting room, we got Jacob Feskin in the 926 machine, bringing home the third spot. Jacob, it seemed like things maybe went a little bit better than they did at Bristol from my point of view. How did it go for you out there in that 926?
Yeah, it was definitely a better run. It's always going to have a lot more potential when you don't have any self-inflicted wounds like speeding on pit road like I had last week. So glad to gotten a reasonably mistake-free race. Had a couple issues coming out of the pit road on the second stop on cold tires, but overall, pretty clean run for me. Car definitely was great.
Now, Jacob, we had that early caution that kind of threw a wrench in the what seemed like the majority of drivers' fuel strategy. Did that throw any new curveballs or developments your way? Or did you have a strategy and you're able to stick to it throughout the duration of the event?
We were definitely questioning it. It was a bit of a shock to see the entire field come down, especially so early. I think all me to do this puts up with a ton of time, and as bad as it's going to sound, my cat Chubba is actually probably the biggest Team Goon Squad fan. He adamantly watches every single lap and gets thoroughly excited for broadcasts. So, got a shout out to him too.
Well, awesome, Jacob. Always a great time talking to you. Good to have you back up here in Victory Lane, and hope to see you up here next week as well.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, James.
Thank you, my friend. Up next, we got Chase Johnson, number 19 machine. Chase, looked like you guys were sparring back and forth for the remaining 25 laps, but did you run out of tires, or what happened, do you think, that maybe kept you in second place at the end of today's event?
I ran out of tires. His setup was just a whole lot better than what it was on longer run. I was saving about the same amount he was. Just at the end of the day, he could just go harder than what I could.
Well, Chase, it looked like you guys were having a lot of fun, a lot of great racing. What do you think is going to happen next week as we go to worldwide technology, a little bit shorter track and maybe a little bit more exciting to watch and maybe more of a driver's track? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. That was really good racing here. It's gonna just all be about setup and how long run it can be. Like you saw this race, we kind of struggled on long run there.
Well, always a great time having you out there. You looked clean, the number 19 machine. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, who would you like to give a shout to that's helping you get out there each and every week?
I'd like to thank Try Inc., Jeff Edgar, all my teammates, Edward Setup Shop, just everybody that helps me, my mom and dad, everybody.
Well, Chase, great time talking to you, man. Hope to see you do well next week, and welcome once again to Victory Lane.
Thank you.
And finally, we have the man of the hour, Michael Vandermeer, the number 84 machine, bringing it home in the top spot. Mike, it seemed like that 84 was just on rails. The longer you stayed out on track, it seemed like the faster the car was getting.
Oh, that car was perfect. I don't think there's anything we could have done to make it better.
Well, what do you think the plan was coming into tonight? Were you guys kind of betting on long runs, and that's what you set the car for up, or what were you guys and the rest of the guys at Cornerstone really planning on?
We were just hoping for a nice, good, clean race, and we pretty much got that the whole time. Got some nice fuel runs, pit stops, some good, clean race, and it was great. I loved it.
Now, Michael, we've seen mixed success for everybody kind of having their ups and their downs. We had Bristol last week. I think you were finished 8th in that one after qualifying on pole and started to getting those qualifying times down we've seen out the last few weeks for you.
It's just teamwork and having somebody that knows how to set up a bad, fast race car.
And who would that be, Mike?
Jacob really made the car, and James Silvers helped tweak it, and that car was just on rails. That was the fastest car I've had probably since Texas.
Well, Mike, it looked like you guys had it really dialed in as a team. Great to see you out there picking up another pro win. Before we let you sign off and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans, the floor is all yours for any friends, family, or sponsors you want to shout out.
I just gotta thank the team, everyone that makes it possible. Sorrells, Marathon, Function Junction. My friend Jake Sutton owns that. He's pretty good. But yeah, I'm just happy what happened. It was a great race.
Well, Mike, always a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on a great job here today, and hope to see you continue that streak next week.
Yes, sir. We'll see you around.
See you, my friend. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for the Pro Series Round 3. Michael Vandermeer puts on the top spot. Chase Johnson finishes second. And Jacob Feskin rounds out the podium in the 926 machine. On behalf of TeamGoonsquad.com, Tri-E Coolers, as well as the entire family here at the Pro Street Stock Series, thank you all so much for tuning in. And we'll see you at the same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everyone.